Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while. It's been busy, okay? Got a lot of things going on. The weather's been on and off here in Tennessee, which is typical, but we got a whole bunch of new projects. If you've seen the last couple of videos, we've been working on the 76 C10. A lot of stuff going on with that, which is awesome. We've had some buddies work on a couple of things on their bikes, getting ready for a trip coming up. But before I get too far into all that stuff, I'll do a channel update at the end of this video. Okay, so stay tuned till the end because there's some really cool stuff coming down the pike, especially if you've seen some shorts. Okay, but we'll leave that to the end. Today, we're going to be looking at my toolkit. Okay, this is the toolkit that I've kind of put together that I take on all my motorcycle rides. There's some disclaimers on a little bit of this because do I take this entire kit on every single ride? No, I do not. Sometimes I'll take just these pouches. Sometimes I'll just take, or I'll take the pouches and the box together with the parts. It also depends on what bike I'm on. So we're going to dig into that together here in just a second, but that's the whole point of today. Motorcycle trip toolkit. All right, cue the music. Whoa, no. Cue the intro. All right, gentlemen, we're just going to dive right in, okay? So typically the pouches stay in the saddlebags. This block box will go on the luggage rack, okay? Because it obviously doesn't fit in the saddlebags, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the lock box first. Let's set those out of the way. And here we go. This is just a cheap, generic, weatherproof lockbox you can get at Harbor Freight, or there's some nicer brands. I think this might be like an Apache or something like that. Has a seal in here, has a release valve and stuff like that for pressure. So, but anyways, it makes a wonderful toolkit. It's also got spots here that you can lock it, so you can put a padlock on there, or you can run like a gun lock or something like that to lock it to your bike. It's pretty universal as far as that goes. This is really Excelsior Henderson Super X specific. So first thing off the top, I mean, many of y'all will recognize this. This is a voltage regulator. I've seen that these have burnt up before. I have multiples of these, so why not keep one in here? I'm gonna set him off to the side because this goes hand in hand with that voltage regulator. This is a stator. Anybody familiar with Excelsior Hendersons know that the stators can fail. They're on a system that pretty much they're getting after it all the time, and they can burn up. So I have a stator in here I keep with me. This deal here, this is a slave cylinder for the clutch. I carry this for several different reasons. They can leak. The seals in here can give up and they can leak. Also, if you're making clutch adjustments, this bolt here, the stud, can actually shear off and stuff like that. These can round off if they're too tight. So, like I said, I've got a couple of these. I've just made it, just decided that I'm going to keep one of these in the toolkit for long trips. We're talking long trip specific. To dive into that a little bit, if I'm within an hour of home, maybe 2 hours, I probably am not going to take this. If I'm looking at taking a very long trip, overnight, several days, things like that, a motorcycle rally, hundreds of miles, this is when I'm going to take this kit. And then here, obviously, with the clutch, you're going to want some brake fluid, which this is brake fluid, but it works for a hydraulic clutch too. It's .5. And then a quart of oil. And then OBD2 port. These are great tools to have for anybody. One thing I failed to mention is, like, in my motorcycle group that I ride with most often, I'm kind of the tool guy. So a lot of the tools you'll see, I'll have multiples of, and some of it isn't always Excelsior Henderson specific. Like I said, I'm kind of the tool guy when it comes to our group. So I kind of help everybody out when they need it. But these are great tools for diagnosing things. So this pretty much covers the box. Sometimes I can fit some of these bags in here and I can distribute weight differently. I don't put all these bags in just one case or one saddle bag because you can have a little bit of balancing weight distribution issues. But this isn't a super heavy kit. And once we dive into the pouches, you'll see that. So he's all packed up. You can fit more stuff in there, but like I said, this is pretty much the way I keep it. So let's slide him out of the way. We are going to start with the biggest pouch and work our way down to the smallest pouch. These are just a little see-through tool pouches that I got off of Amazon. They have a little lanyard here, but I don't use them that way. I've had them for about a year now, and they've worked out pretty good. I'm going to lay everything out in each pouch, and we're going to go over it just briefly. A lot of this stuff is self-explanatory, but I just want you to see what I've got going on here. So that pretty much covers that pouch. I leave enough room. I don't pack these out completely tight so that if I needed to, I can add, I can subtract. They're more modular. So first thing we're going to cover is just a basic test light. That's good for trying to diagnose electrical issues, which I've actually had to use when my ignition failed out in East Tennessee when I was doing the Dragon. Now here's a couple of sensors that I use. This is the camshaft sensor and the oil pressure switch sensor. So these both can leave you stranded in a bad spot. I've got a video on the oil pressure switch. If it fails, boy, it makes a mess, and it's just terrible. If the crankshaft sensor fails, it can actually leave you stranded. So good one to have. We'll set that off to the side. In this bag, we've got fuses, some electrical connectors. These are not only fuses for the bike, but there's also fuses for the battery tender and power applications. If for my bike specific, you just have to figure out what you need for your bike. Same with sensors. You know, you kind of got to figure out what's going to leave you stranded, what's going to make a mess, and what is going to be imperative for you to keep on the bike. I've got some very small cable ties, a Sharpie, and this is a paper funnel. It just folds open. It's a one-time use, but you can fold open and get your oil poured in. Here we have a screwdriver drive kit. Some of these are, this one right here is Excelsior Henderson specific, and then everything else is obviously very generic. This is very specific to me. This is just a throttle lock that I've used on some long trips when I went to Orange Beach in Alabama. I have a video on that. I use this quite a bit, and it worked pretty good. It's not perfect, and there's some applications where it could be kind of dangerous, I think, if you're not really used to using these. But I like it, and I keep it. Obviously, a little bit of electrical tape. As you can see, everything fits in that bag really nice, and you can see, obviously, what you're looking for. Next, this is probably, I would say this is the heaviest bag. And this has got all the wrenches in it. So we've got some hex style. We've got some torque style here. I really hate these, but they can be quick on the spot sometimes and can be kind of useful to use. But they're just not perfect. But they're small, compact, and light enough, and they have a lot of different sizes. So that's why I use them. Another set of hex. One's standard, one's metric. Here we have some standard wrenches. These are just some very cheap steel wrenches that are standard, and they are actually one's standard and one's metric, I believe. Yeah, one's standard, one's metric, and they have these nice little lock kits and keeps them compact. These are really more of a backup because I go for these loose ones right out of the gate. So when I went and put this toolkit together, I had spare kits that were either, you know, the housing or the storage compartment for it was broken, whatever the case may be. Some of them I had to go out and buy. I got the bike out, the specific bikes, obviously Excelsior Henderson specific for me, and then some of these I've crossed over for the Harleys and Indian. But anyways, I got the bike out and I took these tools and I just started to fit tools on parts that could be issues. And if it fit, it shipped. Okay. So we've got a 3/4. We got 11/16, 9/16. I got a half. Should have another half here. 7/16. There it is, the other half. I carry 2 halves. Sometimes it's imperative to have multiples. Okay, one's a little bit smaller than this one. This one's kind of big and bulky. That's what I keep as far as basic wrenches as of right now. I am going to be adding a adjustable wrench, and also I'm going to add a pair of vice grips. Just haven't done that yet. Out of all the pouches that I prefer to keep in this lockbox on the luggage rack, it's this one because of its weight. This is by far the heaviest. You know, it wouldn't be as heavy if I didn't have those steel wrenches, you know, just those basic steel wrenches in there, but I like to have them, and the weight isn't a problem. So moving on to the next size, this one here, this is kind of a universal, so it's got pliers and some bits and stuff like that, some electrical stuff. So on this one, this is a modified Allen wrench for the Tour X, the front, to remove the front brake caliper, because it has aftermarket brake lines that I needed to make this to fit that specific brake line. However, I can use this on all of the bikes as well. And this is all this is just a 1/4 inch Allen wrench that I've cut down. Here's another Allen wrench, 6 millimeter. I can't exactly remember what I use this for, but it's obviously in here for a reason, so I keep it. A pair of needle nose pliers, spring assist, adjustable channel locks. These are always really excellent. Here's some basic picks. Nothing fancy here. This is just a cheap set from, I think, Harbor Freight. You never know when you need a pick to do something. And then obviously here we have wire strippers, just a very basic set of wire strippers. And the way this can claw down, you can actually use this as a crimp tool. And I've used it, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it works as a good crimper. So those kind of pair together. This bag altogether is very light, very slimline, doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's very useful. So on the final bag, we have the blue one. This is the second to heaviest. It's got all the sockets and things like that. So I'm just going to open it up, dump it out, and we'll get started. One thing I forgot to mention, I actually had it taken out of this bag. This ratchet is a 3/8 ratchet I use on the trips. Sometimes I end up taking it out and using it, but it's got a swivel head on it, and it's got an adjustable length here, so you can use it, get more torque and things like that on it. It's too long to fit in this pouch, so I end up using it on this one, but it's not very heavy, and I really like the usability of it. The reason I mentioned here is because, like I said, I took it out, but it really pairs with this bag specifically. So we're going to start here. This is the oil pressure switch removal tool. It is a 1 1/16 inch socket, and I got it from Napa Auto Parts, but as you can see here, it's very specific for that sensor. And I have a video of when I broke down in Lynchburg, Tennessee. That video is on my YouTube channel, and it talks more in depth about this socket, but it's definitely invaluable to have. Moving on, we'll cover this wrench here, or this ratchet, excuse me. So this is 1/4 inch. A lot of this stuff is 1/4 inch, a lot of it's 3/8. So it's a little bit of a combination because this is used tools. I didn't go out and necessarily buy tools to make this kit. I used tools that I had multiples of. So that's where we're at on this. So keep that in mind. So we've got a 1/4 inch ratchet. I have a 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter that I typically keep on there. Then as far as for this ratchet, I have a 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter. I have two 1/4 inch extensions. I tried to go with a 1/4 inch as much as possible for weight. I've got some deep well sockets here. We've got a 9/16, 1/2 inch, 10 millimeter, and a 7/16, all in deep well. As far as the smaller sockets go, they should be about the same. So 9/16, 10 millimeter, 3/4, another small 1/4 inch, 10 millimeter. So one's 3/8, one's 1/4 inch. Another 7/16, which we just talked about, it was sitting over there, another 1/2 inch. So as you can see, some of this stuff, you know, obviously if you're going to be using a wrench, you got one on one side and you got a ratchet and socket on the other side. You get the picture, right? You have to really curate this to what your system is specifically and what tools you have available to you. Here we have just a basic 3/4 inch swivel or joint. These are the most, I would say, specific to Excelsior Henderson. This is the 3/16 hex head for basically all the fasteners. T50, T40. This is for the rear seat. There's my kit. I'll put that over here to see everything together. But that's where it is as far as sockets go. Sockets and wrenches. So there you have it. That's basically everything that I carry on the Excelsior Hendersons, the Indian Well, that's pretty much all I've got right now. But like I said, I help out the guys with the Harleys that I ride with too, in case, God forbid, something unfortunately happens. The moral of the story in this video is that it's important to carry tools. It's important to be prepared. Those things kind of go hand in hand. That's just preparedness. It's being responsible, and also knowing how to even use the tools in case of a failure, part failure, whatever the case may be. So I implore you to do this, to get a kit, get your bike out, walk around it, get some tools, figure it out, and to work on your bike, to service your bike, and it all goes to being a good motorcycle rider. If you see something or you think of something that you would add or you have in your tool bag, toolkit that I don't have, let me know. I'm curious. This is always subject to change. Like I said, I got to put a vice grip or some vice grips in there. I would like to lighten it up a little bit. But like I said, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm going on a long trip, it's worth the wait, right? Um, Sometimes it's a give and take. Anyways, I'll shut up about this and we'll get to the bonus content, basically channel update, okay? So it's been about a month since I put out a video. I've been putting out a lot of shorts, okay? So if you've been watching the shorts, as many of you have seen some things come up. One, obviously, the 67 C10, I made 2 videos on it. We've done a lot. It's sitting right here, so that's why I'm looking at it. Done a lot of work to it, wheels, tires, exhaust, shocks, suspension, engine, uh, basic stuff like that. I'm going to continue to do some videos on that, so stay tuned if you're enjoying the 76C10. Obviously, we've got tons of Excelsior Henderson content coming, but I'll talk more about that towards the end here. Something that's very exciting to me, if you've been watching the shorts, you've seen the purple Mustang, okay? It is a 67 Mustang Coupe. It's got a brand new 347 stroker engine. It's got a C4 transmission, 9-inch rear end, shift kit, a torque converter that supports the shift kit. It sat for 25 years. It was actually wrecked into a chain link fence. That's pretty much all I'm going to tell you about it because we've got videos coming once I get it home. I've been working at it at my friend's co-worker's house where the car is, who I'm buying it from. He's been gracious enough to want to work on it with me. And so we've been doing that. So stay tuned if you're looking forward to some classic car, some muscle car, some 67 Mustang content, because a bunch of it is coming. Moving on from the vehicles, we have got a ton of stuff coming up this year. A group of the guys that I ride with, we are taking a 3,700 mile trip, rough estimate, probably going to end up being a little bit more, to the Grand Canyon from Middle Tennessee. So we're going to take basically Interstate 40 all the way there, going through obviously Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. Then we're going to take as much Route 66 back as we can. I'm going to film the whole thing. It's probably going to be a mini series with several episodes because there's going to be so much filming. That's huge. That's going to be an awesome trip. Longest trip I've ever been on. Here's the kicker. I am taking the 2016 Indian Chief Vintage on that trip. A couple of different reasons, more storage, cruise control, just a couple of different things on that specific. And my mom, she's the owner of the bike. It's only got 7,700 miles on it. She doesn't get much time to ride it, so she wants some miles put on it. So we're going to hit over 10,000 miles on that bike by the time the trip's over. We've got more content coming up on the Indian too. I've got LED headlights to put in it, and I put a luggage rack on it. So stay tuned for that content as well. Moving on. So the spring rally, as you know, many of you are a part of it as well. The Excelsior Henderson Riders Club, we have rallies. So there's some unofficial rallies like Daytona, Sturgis. I didn't make Daytona this year. I'm not going to make it to Sturgis or anything like that either. But I am going to the official rallies. The first one, spring rally, is in Canton, Ohio, and it's going to revolve around the first official Excelsior Henderson Riders Club clubhouse, 001. Owned and operated, whoa, almost fell out of my seat. Owned and operated by Michael Locklear, who used to be president, original owner. He's been involved in the show the whole time since he bought his bike. So excellent guy. Really looking forward to it. We're going to get a bunch of we're going to do a whole video over the trip. the whole rally just like we did for the fall rally last year in Wisconsin Dells. We're going to get some interviews with some unique bikes, some unique owners. We're going to try to get a tour of the clubhouse, do a video on that. We're going to try to get a bunch of good content out of that. After that's the fall rally, so this is a big honor for me. The fall rally is being held here in Middle Tennessee. We're in whiskey country here in Middle Tennessee. We got Jack Daniels, we've got George Dickel, uh, we've got Pritchard's. I mean, it's on and on and on and on, right? And we've got beautiful roads, which is the most important thing for the motorcycles. The home base is going to be in Manchester, Tennessee, and we've got a lot of great stuff going on. We're going to be going to George Dickel. We've got some cool restaurants to go to, some beautiful riding up to Swanee, where there's a huge cross up there. It's with a beautiful overlook, great roads, great food. And we're also going to go to Lynchburg. Obviously, there's a lot of people that it's kind of a bucket list, pilgrimage type thing, and it can be an all day an event. Um, but Lynchburg, Tennessee is a great place to get pictures, and it's just a cool environment, even if you don't drink whiskey. So if you're part of the club, if you're not part of the club, if you want to go, stay tuned. We'll get more information out. There's more information on Facebook about all the rallies. You can reach out to me, comment, whatever you want to know. We'll get the information out to it. It's not just exclusive to members, but really, really good time. The final thing I'm going to do is plug the podcast. So a couple of Excelsior Henderson. I am going to flip out of this seat by the end of this, I swear. A couple of owners from the Excelsior Henderson group, Frank, Bruce, who has Grandpa Grumpy Pants X World YouTube channel, and Sanford, he has Automotive Villainy YouTube channel. Both features Excelsior Hendersons and great, very, very active in the group. We have put together a podcast called Jumper Cables Podcast. Look it up, Jumper Cables Podcast. We've really got 2 episodes out, but we've got a pilot. We've got episode 1 has a part 1 and a part 2, and then episode 2 is out as a full series. A lot of content on there, hours of content to listen to. It's really cool. So go check it out, like and subscribe. We're really having a good time with that. Let's wrap it up here. I know I've been rambling. If you've hung in this far with me, I appreciate it. But we have a lot coming down the pike this year for this channel, for the Writers Club, for the podcast, it's got a lot. We've got a lot going on. So hang in there, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So if you have any critiques for me, drop them in the contact or comments. If you have anything else you want to reach out to me about, please do like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Share the videos if you get the chance. We'll catch you on the next one.